Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
We are going to move to our next speaker, and let me see here. I get to believe Rachel Marie Kimball is up next. And Rachel Marie Kimball has spent the last 6 years mentoring teachers and administrators in ways to bring dance and other art forms into their pedagogical practices in order to nurture the whole soul of each student. She's licensed K through 12 in dance education and serves domestically and internationally as a certified life coach with Promethean Spark International. Rachel's work and service have guided her to collaborate closely with the 8 Native American sovereign nations in Utah, as well as to serve internationally in educational settings in countries such as India, Ghana, Rwanda, Uganda, Hungary, and most recently, Morocco. And with that, she describes herself as a spirit sibling to all, and she will be teaching or presenting today on creative pedagogy, nourishment for the soul. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Marie Kimball.
Thank you so much, Sean. It's such an honor to be here and to rub shoulders with everyone, just like Todd was saying. And honestly, I feel like following after him, there's a part of me that's like, wow, he just said so many power statements that I just want to keep silent. But I want to add to what he was saying, and maybe even just piggyback off of a couple statements there. But just like was stated in the intro, I truly do see myself, or I believe that we are spirit siblings, that I'm a spirit sibling to all of you. And so I hope that we can feel that as we are here today, learning from one another and sharing. And so as I've been pondering quite a bit about what to share today, I actually want to go back to something that Todd had said, like about the story that you're telling yourself. And I do believe, I hope that I can add this to your story of what you're telling about yourself, but I believe that we are spiritual beings who are endowed with powers for creation. And so like what the title of what I'm sharing about today, we're looking at creativity as part of not just pedagogical practices in education, but also as the way we live our lives. Because I feel so often, coming from the educational standpoint where I'm working in the classrooms a lot, I feel that we're often approaching our education in a ways where we're learning information so we can prepare for a test. We're learning this information so we can repeat what someone else has taught us to say. And sadly, along this path in many forms of education, we either lose sight of our ability to act and become and what we can do with this knowledge. And I would say it is something we lose, kind of like Todd was mentioning, like we were born into this world with a strong understanding of like, oh, like with our kindergartners, we'll say, who in here is a singer? Every hand goes up. Who in here is an artist, visual artist, or a dancer? And they're all just like, oh yeah, that's me, that's me. But the moment we ask a room of teachers or a room of adults, who in here is a dancer? Most hands won't go up. They won't go up. It's been taught out of them. They've forgotten how to create, how to be confident in their creative abilities. And so something that I'm quite passionate about is trying to help people tap into that again, tap into that creative power that we've all been endowed with. And because once we can tap into that, then we're inviting the spirit, we're inviting the whole soul to be a part of our education. When we're just teaching students or even ourselves straight from a textbook, or when we're just going through these rote steps of how to do a certain task, we're not touching the spirit so much. We're not getting to that part of who we are, what we can become. But when we bring creativity into what we're learning, when we're bringing creativity into our practices and seeing what we can do, playing with different elements, whatever the subject is that we're studying, as we're starting to play with these things, we are inviting the Spirit to be a part of our growth, a part of our learning. And so it isn't like we're treating ourselves like these robots that just regurgitate information, right? And so just going back to that one first point, as I just hope as we come away from this, that we do see ourselves as creative beings, that is one of our characteristics, that as spiritual beings, we are endowed with creativity. And so then taking that creativity and make that creative power and making it a part of our educational practices and life practices, that's what helps us reach the soul. And so I want to share a couple examples here, a couple of stories, and I have some images that can go with that. So I'll try to screen share for a moment here. We'll see if it's going to work for me. Thumbs up if we're seeing stuff. My screen. Yes, I got one. Okay, great. So I'm going to jump to this one right here. If I can make it full screen. There we go. So this picture, you don't need to see it, but I just wanted to give you a little visual as I'm telling this story. And with this story, I want you to be thinking about maybe times in your life where you felt like you didn't have much to offer, but then maybe you were able to find something within you that you did have, and then you were able to move forward and create with what you did have. And something that I feel so grateful for in my profession, because I do work in public schools currently, is I've had the opportunity to work in special education classes. And it's been interesting to watch the trend in some of these schools where these special education classes are often, it feels like they're remote or separate from the other classes in the school. And so it's always a thrill to find opportunities to bring all of the students together and all of the faculty together. But on this particular day, it was just me and this class. And they were about 7, 8 years old, the students that I was working with. And there was a young student, I'm going to call him Robert. And I was trying to teach a lesson. And I'll be honest, I don't remember what the subject was, but I was integrating movement with something that the students needed to learn. And maybe it was geometric shapes. Maybe I was teaching them squares and circles and whatnot through movement. We'll just say that's what it was. And a lot of these students will struggle with grasping, at least in this class, with their abilities. Some of them, many of them, it is a struggle to find how to help bring them along to learn certain things. But with one of my little students, his name is Robert. Well, it's not Robert. I'm giving him the name Robert because I can't tell you his real name. So we're going to call him Robert. His face was beaming the whole time I was in the room. He wasn't necessarily coming along with everything that I was instructing the students to do. But there was a moment at the end of the lesson where he felt that he could succeed in something, and that something was his robot dance. And so my little Robert, he came to me and he said, "Can I show you my robot dance?" And these are the first words he'd ever said to me. And I said, "Yeah, sure." And he starts going for it, showing me this robot dance. And it was fantastic. And his teachers were in awe. They were in awe because they were like, he doesn't show that to anybody. He doesn't like to talk to people usually. And so the fact that we had created this environment where his skills were welcomed, what he could do. Maybe he wasn't going to be able to identify all those geometric shapes, but what he could do was the robot dance. And that is something that I love seeing come alive in people, not just in the schools where I'm working, but in life in general, where I'm able to see someone come alive because they recognize what they have and what they can offer. And oftentimes it's because they are given an opportunity to create. It doesn't necessarily have to be through the arts. It doesn't necessarily have to be through the arts, the main art forms of like drama, music, visual art, and dance, but just being able to be invited to create. Take what you have, show me what you can do with what you have. And we see this often in the schools. I'm on a team of art specialists where we get to, like it was said in my bio, we are coaching classroom teachers and other administrators on how to bring the arts into their practices. And it's amazing the turnaround that we'll see with the classes we work with, where certain students that they have a record of not succeeding or a record of being disengaged in class, all of a sudden, when we come in and start bringing the arts into their life and inviting them to create with the materials that they have, they come alive. Teachers comment on how these students suddenly show a side of themselves that they had never seen before. And so I need to check the time here. I want to make sure I don't go over. So I'll stop sharing for a second here. Okay, we're getting close. I do want to show just a couple more things here. I'll still keep screen sharing just to kind of get our minds open to the potential here of all of us, because maybe you don't see yourself as a dancer. Maybe you don't see yourself as a singer or someone who does these amazing visual art projects, but you could be. But I want to show another angle for this. As we are studying and learning and practicing in many disciplines and fields in our lives, I still believe that this not just skill set, but this desire to create with whatever mediums we are working with, it can become such a crucial part of keeping us alive in the work that we are doing, and not just alive, but nurturing our souls as we're working in our professions. And so one more time here, I'll screen share. Da, 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 da. Okay. This is my cute husband, Eduardo, and this is a story about him. And I'm actually quite amused by how we ended up together, because I'm this hardcore, like, weird artist person that does abstract things. And then he's this intelligent engineer that oftentimes we see engineers and artists at being complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Yet it's been awesome to see where the two of us meet, or where we cross over, where times where I might be the one that comes more over to this logical space, or maybe he's the one that's swinging really far over on the creative side with, he plays classical guitar and enjoys jazz music. But I love looking at his life practices as an example for how we can keep creativity a part of us, no matter what we are studying, no matter what we are doing. And like I said, he's an engineer. He's doing aircraft design, wrapping up his PhD currently. And here I just wanted to show you a couple things that he has created. This isn't something he had to do. It wasn't that someone said, oh, you're going to be tested on this, so you need to know how to run these specific simulations. But no, it's because he's taken the knowledge and he has these materials he's working with and formulas that he understands, that he's able to find these creative outlets while playing with particles and simulations. And so I wanted to share a little bit of the artwork that he has created. These are just some short videos. I'll play this one first. There's no audio, but these are things that he has computed, that it's not something that anyone else has ever done before. No one else has run this exact simulation, but because and that was short. I'll show you the next one. But because he has the knowledge, because he has the skill set, and because he recognizes the creative power within himself, he's able to explore like this. And so I'll do just one more here, this video. This one's really fun to watch. We'll see it from a couple different angles. But again, things he was able to compute, these formulas that he runs through the systems on the computer to create these beautiful images. And to me, it's so artistic to watch this. And so it's interesting to then find that, oh, what we're really looking at is these vortex particles and da, 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 da. And we could go on about aerospace engineering with this, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. And so I wanted to throw that example out there just to keep us all thinking that it isn't just when we're looking at the main art forms that we often look at as being those that are reserved for elitists, if you will, because they're not reserved for elitists. We have the drama, dance, visual art, music for everyone. We all have access to it. But also looking here, that we're looking at aerospace engineering and the art, the beauty that can be created from it. So whatever your profession is, whatever your hobbies are, whatever it is that you're feeling driven to do in your life, you do have the power to create. And I'm going to see if I can go to another slide here as I'm escaping. Just one second. And I know I'm so going over my 15 minutes at this moment. So I hope we're okay. Okay, now it's letting me roll again. Am I okay just for a couple more minutes? I don't want to take us. Okay, okay. All right, since we're a smaller group, I'm getting the thumbs up. All right, so one more time here. Just because it's beautiful. Wanted to show, oops, not that one, this one. This was just another form of art of what we just watched, how we can take this and create, find those creative outlets in whatever we're doing. I'm going to skip that. Just looking at some final statements here. I invite all of us to make creativity a non-negotiable part of our educational, but not just educational, but life practices for those that we are working with, but also for ourselves. See yourself as a creator. As I started off with, we as spiritual beings, we are endowed with the power to create. So like Todd was saying, stop lying to yourself. But see yourself as that creator and really live up to that and make it a non-negotiable part of your existence. And I don't know why, oh, there we go. And so my final question is, what are you going to create? Think of those, the knowledge, the ideas, the resources at your fingertips. What are you going to create? And thank you for your time.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Creation. We are all creators and we get to expand that part of ourselves. And we're absolutely going to dive into more of that during the panel. This is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we are good on time. Thank you for being aware of that. And that was it was perfect. We like I mentioned earlier, we can go a little bit further if we need to.